Nutritionists of Reddit, what are some eating habits that are popularly believed to be healthy but are actually not? I used to think eating between 2 and 3 pounds of seeds was the healthy way to go because I read a book called Eat Like a Bird. No, really, but after a few years of such a seed-heavy diet, I developed some pretty bad colon problems. Any fat-free diet, they get rid of the fat and load it up with tons of sugar just to taste good, which is equally not good for you. Not a nutritionist, but have celiac. You'll be amazed at how many people don't actually get tested for celiac before starting the diet, and the diet is really bad for you. Almost all the gluten-free versions of food have tons of added sugar to get the flavor right, and less nutritional value than their gluten-full counterparts. Recipes which use loads of dates, maple syrup, agave, honey and then stick a big fat healthy label on them because they're not using refined white sugar drives me insane. One of those things is not like the other. Yes, they should all be consumed sparingly, but one of those is a whole fruit that contains a lot of fiber, making it far better, if still too sugary, than the other three. Date sugar, on the other hand, is no better than white sugar. Just a friendly reminder that nutritionist is not a real title. We are all nutritionists if we say we are. If you want accurate information on nutrition, a registered dietary nutritionist (RDN) is a good source. Registered dietitian (RD) or registered dietitian nutritionist (RDN), not dietary. Not a nutritionist, but while it is important to drink a lot of water, the 8 glass a day rule was not based on anything factual. Different people will have differing liquid intakes, and really, only you can tell what it is you need. Not only that, but the amount a person sweats is also controlled by genetics, so a person's ethnicity can also play a role in the amount of water they need to drink. Not me, but my cousin is a registered dietitian. Eating gluten-free if you can actually digest gluten is not healthy. Gluten is what binds food, so gluten-free uses more sugar and fats. My cousin's sister's godfather is a licensed and certified etologist. He told me to eat more Taco Bell. Well, actually he said eat less McDonald's, but I am pretty sure I know what he meant. Legitimately most things. I'm a dietitian in a weight loss center and 75% of my time is just telling people what they heard is wrong. Eating several small meals all day long doesn't keep your metabolism up. Eating breakfast doesn't get your metabolism going. If your metabolism isn't going, that means you are dead. Tilapia is not terrible. Gluten is not terrible. Dairy is not terrible. Nuts are so high in calorie that I think it's insane for someone trying to lose weight to eat them. Though if you can lose weight and keep them in your diet, that's fine too. Staying at a healthy weight is very important for your health. If you need to lose weight, then start eating fewer calories. For anyone who cares, maintain a healthy weight, monitor cholesterol and blood pressure, and see a doc so they can check things that need to be checked, mammograms, colonoscopies, etc. If you just want to be a normal, healthy human, do this. No need to obsess more over your diet. Almonds are the one nut that I feel like satiates me with one standard serving, 180 calories. Pistachios, cashews, peanuts, etc. are very easy to overindulge in and I end up eating way too many. Every single time I see people argue about nutrition, I just realize that no one knows what they are talking about, and everything seems equally good and bad for you. Seems like diversification and moderation are the only recurring themes that seem believable. So eat a little bit of everything, but not too much of anything. The ketogenic diet isn't a high meat, no fiber diet where you eat bacon and sausages fried in liquid cheese. The amount of protein required on a ketogenic diet is the same as any other diet, and carbs at 0 grams, but rather 25-50 grams per day depending on your requirements to get into ketosis. You can, and should, consume lots of fiber, green leafy vegetables, cruciferous vegetables, low sugar fruit, eggs, strawberries, cucumber, and a balance of healthy fats, walnuts, ground linseed, olive oil. You can even go vegan, it's no problem. However, the source of protein will simply be low carb. Egg tempeh I buy at the supermarket has almost no carb, or a pea hemp protein powder. The end result is, to the untrained eye, it looks almost like a vegan because you'll be consuming more vegetables to replace the space left from the lack of rice, pasta, etc. However, the net carbs still stay under the limitation. The other pointer is it doesn't increase fat burning. Okay, it technically does, but the way metabolism works is carbohydrate metabolism slows, one energy fuel, and fat metabolism increases. However, you're eating more fat and the total change in energy balance still is governed by thermodynamics. Moreover, as a final point, the main benefit appears to be a reduction in appetite, possibly by attenuating the increase in ghrelin which triggers hunger. The other possibility is it interacts with the brain and lipostat, providing less dopamine reward and essentially your drive to eat reduces. However, it should be said this effect can be accomplished with simply eating a high quality diet of fruit, veg and less junk food, in particular less high carb and fat combos, sufficient protein and water tea. So ketogenic diet is not for everyone. It's not the be all and end all, but it's a valid option if people understand what's involved, as in it's not an excuse to eat sausages coated in cheese and bacon all day. I actually have a question for nutritionists. Ever since August I've been going on a fast diet, where I basically skip breakfast and only eat food for around 8-10 hours. How long should I actually be doing this? And is it reasonable safe in the first place? I have done it for 30 years. As long as you are eating enough, there won't be any issue. Asking a dietitian would be the correct profession. Dietitian to nurse would be the same as nutritionist to a licensed vocational nurse. Not the most accurate analogy, but it'll work to distinguish difference. I feel like it would probably be worth knowing what you mean, but no, I did not follow that analogy. My GF is becoming a registered dietitian, and I thought I should mention that there is actually a substantial difference between nutritionists, which OP said in the post, and dietitians. Dietitians need an undergraduate degree and go through a rigorous internship before taking an exam to become registered. On the other hand, nutritionists need no education, and literally anybody could claim to be a nutritionist based on their own random internet findings. Essentially, dietitians are a legitimate part of the healthcare team while nutritionists are not. I know it seems very nitpicky, but any dietitian you meet will hate it if you call them a nutritionist. Just thought I should share. In America, yes, you are very correct. Other countries use nutritionist for their licensed food specialists, and OP might be from one of those countries. The idea that there is one diet for everyone, absolutely wrong. What is healthy for me could be very damaging to someone else, and vice versa. Work with a nutritionist RDLD to figure out what works for you if you feel the need to edit your diet. The term you are looking for is dietitian. Nutritionist is not a protected title. Anyone can use it. Might as well ask skinologists how to treat a melanoma. Depends on the country. Here the graduated and licensed health professionals are called nutritionists. For the record, a nutritionist refers to someone who did go to school in some places. But for those who insist on focusing on that issue, I rephrase and ask the dietitians of Reddit. Both are acceptable cause of difference in terminology between countries, but Reddit skews American. This is too far down to be read now, but coconut oil is not good for you to eat. It is just saturated fat. Olive oil, on the other hand, is mostly monounsaturated fats and is generally good for you and supports brain health. Coconut oil is not the fancy superfood that marketing would have you believe. Not a nutritionist, but I remember an article where they polled a bunch and asked them to rate the healthiness of food, then compared it to what the public thought. The one really outstanding one was granola. People think it's good for you, but it's actually really not. I remember this fact because I never liked granola, and this will never feel obliged to eat it again. Eating a version of the food that is lower in fat, i.e. peanut butter versus peanut butter that is 25% less fat, not always a good decision. Why? To maintain the taste in the version of peanut butter that is less fat, the manufacturer will add more sugar, depending on the individual purchasing. This might not be the better choice. Always go for the most natural version of a product. You can't go wrong with nature. Natural food is where it is at. My buddy went on a hemlock diet a few years ago. He's practically a skeleton now. Stop eating 10 avocados and 4 pounds of almonds every day. Just because it's a good fat doesn't mean you should eat a mountain of it. For the love of God, stick to recommended serving sizes. It's more important to focus on making small, lasting changes than to drastically alter your diet or lifestyle. Make one small change at a time, and don't introduce the next change until the first feels comfortable and normal. We develop patterns and behaviors around food for a reason, and just stopping rarely has successful long-term outcomes. If you have a sweet tooth, try taking 1 sugar in your tea coffee instead of 2. Once 1 sugar tastes normal for you, try swapping 1 glass of soda for water each day, or try diluting your morning fruit juice with water. If you really struggle to drink enough water and stay hydrated, challenge yourself to drink a small glass of water before every soda, coffee, snack or other pleasurable thing you indulge in during the day. If you can't seem to reduce the amount of processed food you eat, strive to change just 1 snack or meal each day to be a little healthier. Cook what you would normally have with less oil or salt, or have a smaller portion of carbs than you usually would and increase the protein veggies to compensate. These changes will feel manageable and insignificant, but over time you will be fundamentally changing your habits in a really meaningful way. This micro-change technique can be applied to every area of your life. Breakfast is not the most important meal of the day. This came from an advertising campaign from Kellogg's in the early 20th century. The whole you need 1-2 grams protein per pound of body weight is bulls. You'll see 0.8 g 1.2 g protein per pound of body weight a lot too. This is also wrong, because it's 0.8 1.2 grams protein per kilogram, not per pound. If you're going by pounds it should be 0.35 0.6 g protein per pound of lean body weight. Even highly competitive strength-based athletes start seeing significant diminished returns after 0.77 g of protein per pound of lean body weight. Effect of protein intake on strength, body composition and endocrine changes in strength power athletes. Hoffman Jr., Ratamas N.A., Kong J., Fulvo M.J., Fagenbaum A.D., J and Sox Sports Nutter, 2006 the 13th of December, 312-8. Macronutrient content of a hypoenergy diet affects nitrogen retention and muscle function in weightlifters. Walbig JL, Leidy MK, Sturgill DJ, Hinkelder, Richie SJ, Sebald Dr., Inc. J Sports Med, 1988 August, 9, 4, 261-6. Protein requirements and muscle mass strength changes during intensive training in novice bodybuilders. Lemon PW, Tynopolsky MA, MacDougall JD, Atkinson SAR, J Apple Physio, 1992 August, 73, 2, 767-75. Influence of protein intake and training status on nitrogen balance and lean body mass. Tynopolsky MA, MacDougall JD, Atkinson SAR, J Apple Physio, 1988 Jan, 64, 1, 187-93. Dietary protein for athletes, from requirements to optimum adaptation. Phillips SM, Van Loon LJ, J Sports C, 2011. 29 Supple 1S 29-38. Protein and amino acid metabolism during and after exercise and the effects of nutrition. Rennie MJ, Tipton KD, Anurev Nutter, 2000, 20, 457-83. Hartman, J, W, Moore, D, R, and Phillips, S, M, 2006. Resistance training reduces whole body protein turnover and improves net protein retention in untrained young males. Applied Physiology, Nutrition and Metabolism, 31, 557-564. Moore, D, R, Delbel, N, C, Nizzi, K, I, Hartman, J, W, Tang, J, E, Armstrong, D, et al. 2007. Resistance training reduces fasted and fed state leucine turnover and increases dietary nitrogen retention in previously untrained young men. Journal of Nutrition, 137, 985-991. Effects of exercise on dietary protein requirements. Lemon PW, Inc. J Sport Nutter, 1998 Dec. 8, 4, 426-47. Effects of high-calorie supplements on body composition and muscular strength following resistance training. Rozenek R, Ward P, Long S, Garhammer J, J Sports Medphys Fitness, 2002 Sep, 42, 3, 347. Increased protein maintains nitrogen balance during exercise-induced energy deficit. Pikaski M.A., Smith T.J., Greediogen A., Castaneda Sepper C., Barley L., Glickman E.L., Young A.J., Medc Sports Exerc, 2008 Ma. 43, 505-12. Dietary carbohydrate to fat ratio, influence on whole body nitrogen retention, substrate utilization, and hormone response in healthy male subjects. Makaga L.J., Clandon M.T., Belkastroan, Walker K., M.J. Klein Nutter, 1989 Jun, 49, 6, 1169-1178. Macronutrient intakes as determinants of dietary protein and amino acid adequacy. Millward, D.J., J. Nutter, the 1st of June, 2004 volume 134 No. 6 1588s 1596s. Keto is only a good diet for those who are morbidly obese and should not be a long-term thing. All these people are going to be so confused when they have heart attacks from eating high-fat diets. My sister is a registered dietitian, and I like the way she put it. To paraphrase, keto is a very useful tool for some people in specific situations. Marketing it as a foolproof cure for every single person struggling with their weight is what's dangerous. Listening to nutritionists. In Australia, anyone can label themselves as such. A practicing accredited dietitian, however, is someone who actually has a university degree and has a certified job in the industry. The family where I was babysitting asked me if you could eat salt infinitively when you drank enough water with it to dilute it. Didn't know where to start on that one. So yeah, just eat everything in moderation. Additives aren't necessarily bad for you. And please use coconut oil in your beauty routine but not in your diet. Food technology student talking. Calories are calories. 500 calories in lettuce is the same as 500 calories in a Twinkie. And yes, all the fixings in your Caesar salad add more calories. I worked at a health food store where we had a nutritionist working to aid customers. Our store was full of fad healthy products that weren't any better than their counterparts and were often worse. I will admit, if you had food allergies or were a vegan it was a godsend, but for your average person it was all overpriced alternatives you needed to eat in moderation just the same as their counterparts. That really pissed her off of course, but the thing she would really rant about was coconut oil. It's saturated fat and really freaking bad for you. Cooking with it is far unhealthier than using olive oil, but the people we served didn't want to hear it. They added it to everything and wondered why their diet wasn't working. What that place really taught me was that nutritionists and dietitians know what they're talking about, and any health guru without qualifications is talking out of their butt. TLDR. Coconut oil is saturated fat and one of the worst options for cooking oil. Your lentil crisps still need to be eaten at moderation. After reading some of the other comments on here, I'd suggest adding Redditors talking from personal experience to your list of people talking out of their butt. I'd say it's the one where folks listen to nutritionists rather than seeking out real medical professionals. Registered dietitians. Anyone can be a nutritionist. It simply means nutrition enthusiast. A registered dietitian has the education, training and licensing required for medical nutrition therapy. I've had plenty of folks come to me over the years who are not seeing results or are not doing well even though they already talk to a nutritionist. Most of what I hear is generic healthy eating habits with very little practically in terms of making sustainable dietary and lifestyle change. Occasionally I run into very silly stuff, like can't eat carrots, too much sugar, and then have to have that wonderful conversation about putting down the dank candy bars before worrying about the sugar in a freaking carrot. But, sadly, I have had several instances where nutritionists have given terrible advice that was harmful to the patient, like detoxes when they're on certain meds, kill everything when their med load contraindicates it, or the eat seeds they're a superfood when my PT had diverticulitis and a host of other bowl issues. Bottom line, any road worth their salt won't give you an answer to this question because, generalized healthy eating habits aside, diets are individualized to the person. What works for one person may not be alright for another. Alright, rant over apparently. Here's your friendly reminder that vegetables are awesome : People believe that drinking alcoholic beverages, such as hard seltzer water, White Claws Truly, and hard kombucha, are better for you because they have lower calories. However, there is so much sugar in it that you get a gnarly hangover for them. Also, I work at a brewery that is right next to a hard kombucha place, and 9/10 the person throwing up in the parking lot is the person who was at the hard kombucha place. Actually, there is only 2 grams of sugar per 12 ounces of White Claw for the flavored, and the pure has none. White wine has a higher amount of sugar, 3.6 grams per 12 ounces. Beer, vodka and tequila are the best bet sugar wise. I can't speak for kombucha as I have never had it and know nothing about outside of it. Looks and sounds disgusting. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.